This course is brought to you by Appy Pie as part of our Academy series.
Welcome to the third module inside of this course where you're going to be learning about focusing your message. And focusing your message is incredibly powerful, now more so than any other time in history. And that's because all of us are bombarded with information on a daily basis. It's overwhelming. And if we want to learn something, figuring out where to start, and then once we actually start learning that thing, where to get the best information is one of the trickiest things in the world. So for example, you're in this course where I'm teaching you about copywriting. Now there is no shortage of information out there about copywriting. For free, you could go on YouTube, you could browse on Google, you could talk to other people that know a lot about copywriting. But the problem is not the amount of information out there, but that it's unfocused. If you were to go out on your own and study copywriting, it's very easy to get lost in all of the noise out there. And so the reason why this course is valuable to you is because I'm focusing the information so you're getting the most important information in a very concise format. Now, if you're able to offer your message in this same concise, focused way, your readers are going to love what you have to share. They're going to pay attention to your every word, and ultimately, they're going to be motivated to take that one action that you want them to take. So a big mistake that new copywriters make is they overload their reader with information. And this is especially true if you're writing copy for a product that you've created and you're now selling, or a service that you're selling. The idea is you have spent so much time honing your craft and becoming an expert in that field that you want to prove to other people how much you know. You think that it takes a lot of hard work to develop all that value, and now you have to show everyone how much value you've developed. But this is a big mistake, because when we try to give our reader every piece of knowledge that we've learned, we overwhelm them and they actually get no value from it. So it's much better if we could just focus our message around one key point and communicate that point in a clear way, because ultimately that's going to help our reader grow. So it's also hard to write clearly when you aren't clear on what you want to say. So if you're faced with a blank white screen and you have a billion different ideas of what you could write about, that makes it really intimidating to actually start writing. It's so hard to start writing when you could take it in 1,000 different directions. But if you know before you even go down to write your first word of your copy that you want to focus on one key message and you want your reader to feel one main feeling, then when you sit down to write those words, it's going to be so much easier because you have a clear goal and foundation of what your writing is going to look like. So what we want to do is, before we write any piece of copy, we want to become clear on 4 things. The first is, who are you talking to? If we're trying to talk to everyone, then we're really talking to nobody. So what we want to do is we want to be clear about who our customer avatar is, or in other words, who is our target market. Now keep in mind, this is a module introduction right now, so I get really excited about this topic, but don't worry if some of this is going over your head or it feels a little overwhelming, because we're going to dive deep into these topics as you go throughout this module. But the key point I want you to take across here is it's so important that we have an idea of who specifically we're talking to. If we're picturing in our head this middle-aged woman that has a desire to feel safe and supported, when we write directly to her, that's so much easier than trying to sell a product or trying to write for anyone we think would be interested in the product that we're offering. So we're going to be very clear on that one person we're writing for before we put pen to paper or you start typing. The next thing is, what's your big idea? So if you can only communicate one main idea from you to your reader, what's the most important idea that you want to share with them? If they only take away one thing, What do you want that one thing to be? Now, I've read a lot of books, and the books that have made the biggest difference in my life revolved around one big idea. And when I think back to that book, I don't think about all of the hundreds or thousands of valuable, great quotes that the author had written. I just think of the one big idea that they were communicating in all these different ways. So it makes it very enjoyable for your reader to read a piece of copy that's focused around a single idea. It also makes it much easier for them to change their lives in a positive way by integrating that big idea that you have. So you want to become clear on what that idea is before you start writing. The next one is, what feeling does your reader desire most? Because when we're writing to someone, we don't just want to tap into their logic brain, we want to tap into their feelings and their emotions. And it's a famous copywriting saying that emotions are what drive people to take action, and then their logic is how they justify that action that they've decided to take. So feeling is the big driver in your reader to get them to take that action that you want them to take. Do you want your reader to feel safe? Do you want your reader to feel excited about something? Do you want your reader to feel sad? There's no limits here. Depending on the context of what you're trying to write, all feelings are okay. And there may be a certain feeling that you want to tap into in order to get your message across. And finally, what's the one action you want your reader to take? Now, if you read the old school copywriting books, you will hear this point over and over and over again. What separates copywriting from a lot of other different types of writing is it's very focused. By the time your reader goes through your copy, you want them to actually do something. Whether it's to comment on your post, whether it's to enroll inside your online course, whether it's to come get a haircut at your local salon. Whatever it is, copywriting is focused. And one great description that I've heard in those old school copywriting books is you want to think of your copy as a slippery slide. So at the beginning of your copy with your headline, someone's entering the slide and they're just taken from each sentence to the next because it's so enjoyable and so easy for them to read it, until eventually they end at the bottom of your slide where they're taking that single action. But we want to make sure that we're clear on what that action is before we go ahead and write. And in some cases, you may not want your reader to take any action. So in that case, you don't want your reader to do anything other than understand your big idea. But if possible, the majority of the time, you want to make sure that your copy is leading your reader to take an action. So I love this picture of an eagle, just because when I think of an eagle, I think of focus. They're so laser focused on that animal or that thing. And when you think about your copy, imagine yourself as an eagle. Make sure you're focused on those 4 things that we talked about. Inside of this video, you got an introduction to what this module is going to be about.